Hello all, it's Ellie and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. If you are returning here for my 31 days of Halloween, hello, hi, hope you're well, hope you're staying spooky, and thanks for joining me on my countdown to Halloween. For today's video I will be talking about the murder of Lauren Giddings. If you don't know what this case is, it's about a very bright 27-year-old who would end up being the innocent victim of a brutal murder. She was dismembered by someone that she knew far too well, whose reaction to this information while being interviewed live would spark the attraction of police and they would look a little closer. Just a heads up before we get into this case, please know that I do not mean any offence to anyone involved in this case or affected by this case. Even though it is a part of my countdown to Halloween, I still want to cover this case with full respect to the victim and the victim's family and friends. I'll be talking about some subjects that could be rather triggering to some individuals, so if for some reason you are triggered by any of the topics I talk about, please be sure to look in the description box as I will have helplines and resources there. Now for a little backstory on Lauren, she was a 27-year-old, she had good friends. She was noted as being kind, funny and super intelligent. She has two younger sisters, Sarah and Caitlin, who said that even though Lauren was living hundreds of miles away, her heart and soul was still tied to her family in Maryland. Family was absolutely everything to her, and she would always come home to visit when she could during the holidays, but if not, they would come and visit her. She would also make sure to ring her grandmother every Sunday to keep updates on how she was doing and how everyone else was doing. She had been studying law at the Mercer University in Georgia. For a very long and stressful 7 years, she just graduated. She was now working really hard once again because the only thing that stood in her way of starting her new life and career was the Georgia bar exam. Once she got this out of the way, she was ready to dive in the deep end and just take what life was willing to throw at her. Just like many other students, Lauren decided to stay in the area of her university after she graduated instead of moving back home to Baltimore. While she prepared for her exam, she stayed in her apartment, which was actually directly opposite her university. She told her parents, Bill and Karen, as well as her two sisters, that she would be studying non-stop for the next few weeks, so if they didn't hear from her, not to be alarmed, and she would contact them as soon as she had a moment to spare. It was only when one of Lauren's friends, Ashley Morehouse, called Lauren's sister Caitlin 4 days later that people really started to worry. Ashley said that she had been ringing and trying to contact Lauren, but her phone was dead and was wondering if she had managed to reach out to one of her families because none of her friends could get hold of her. When Caitlin also said that nobody could get in contact with her, this is when the bad gut feeling started to kick in to everyone. So Caitlin hung up the phone and tried to get hold of Lauren again. Just like the response that Ashley got, there was no answer. So on the 30th of June 2011, Ashley went to Lauren's apartment with a few other friends. She had a spare key and just let herself in. And when they went in there, everything kind of seemed normal. There was no sign of forced entry or nothing that seemed out of place. Lauren's law books were on the table as well as her phone and her keys. Her car was also parked outside. The only thing right now that was missing was Lauren. Just to be safe, they decided to notify the police. Police got there on foot and started to look through Lauren's apartment and noted that everything seemed to be in order. There wasn't anything in the layout of the apartment that would raise alarm bells, but with still a bad feeling in the air, they decided to use a luminol fluid. If you don't know what a luminol method is, it is where a liquid gets sprayed all over the room, and when a black UV light is flashed on it, if there is a liquid, this substance will show fluorescent. The ingredients in this liquid react with the iron in hemoglobin, showing evidence of blood. Now this was used throughout Lauren's apartment and they found no evidence of washed away blood, so that was fine. It's not until they went to Lauren's bathroom where the results were very different. Under the black light, it showed that blood was literally everywhere, and now this instantly flipped a switch, and now the police were ready. The police were now prepared to find a body. They took the search outside and started to go through the bins. It was inside the bins where police would actually make a horrifying discovery. They found a human torso wrapped in plastic. It was in a plastic like black bin bag. There were also some running shorts underneath the bags. This was actually a blessing in disguise because the bins were meant to have already been collected that day, but the drivers had a delay. Like, if you think this in a bigger picture, no body, no torso would have been found if everyone was on time and if the bins were like to be collected on time as usual. When people found out that a university student had gone missing in the apartment complex that was also so close to the uni, it straight away grabbed the media attention. There were news stations at the apartment trying to capture what had happened, and they were interviewing Lauren's friends to find out more information. Lauren's uncle that lived a road across from the family went to the family home and told them to watch the news. Sadly, it was through watching the news that Lauren's family would find out that a body had been found. When the news broke, obviously the family were absolutely distraught. Although there wasn't 100% confirmation at this moment in time that the body that was found was Lauren's, but her family knew, they had the gut feeling that this was Lauren's body and their loved one had been murdered. Now, back at the crime scene and with TV stations taking interviews, one interviewer that caught the attention of the police was Lauren's next door neighbour, Stephen McDaniel. He and Lauren were neighbours since the first year of law school. When the torso that was found in the bins was discovered, Stephen was speaking to a TV station. He was pretty much chatty at first, he was fine, but when they notified him that a body had been found, he says, "I think I need to sit down." This is where he sits down on a nearby curb and appears to be hyperventilating.
Because we went over. One of her friends had a key. We went inside and tried to see if there was anything amiss, but she had a door jamb that was sitting right by it, so there was no sign that anyone broke in. The door was locked when everyone got here. We just don't know where she is.
What about in the parking lot area? I know they've been doing a lot of, I think that's where they have recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
Had you seen anything there? Had you seen anything there? We don't know if this is the same person. You know what I mean? They took out a body there earlier. We don't know if it's the same person or not. So that's how we're trying to ask people if they know who lived there. Are you okay, sir?
I think I need to sit down.
Okay.
Although this reaction could have been seen as a friend who's just found out that they found a torso, and you have a missing friend and it's shocked, scared, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. But just the way he reacted, it's raised instant suspicion. So once he composed himself, even though he was still shaken up from this news he had just received, he proceeded to tell the news reporters how he wished he had let her borrow his gun for protection. What was later found out about Stephen is that these tears and this sad, shocked reaction that was caught on camera wasn't the reaction from a guy who's just found out that his friend has died. It was the reaction of him realising that he himself has been caught. Upon further police research, they would learn that Stephen had access to all of the apartments. He actually had a master key that could open up each one, so when questioned about it, he admitted to using the key on 2 other apartments, and this was only that he'd stole condoms from each apartment. The police then continued to search the complex, and in the laundry room they found a hacksaw alongside sheets that had blood all over them. DNA was tested from the blood traces taken, hacksaw and the bloody sheets, and it would reveal that this was Lauren's DNA. Searching further into Stephen's apartment, police found that he actually had packaging for a hacksaw and a pair of Lauren's underwear. In his apartment they also seized 6 knives, including one that was a foot long, a sword. He had tennis shoes, t-shirts, underwear and a bath towel, and 13 pieces of cutting equipment. On July 1st, 2011, Stephen appeared in a courtroom for the burglary charges for stealing from the 2 apartments, and his bail request was denied. While this was going on, the police actually conducted another search of his apartment and seized 2 handguns, a rifle, rope, wooden sticks, 4 baseball bats, a bayonet, a chainmail vest, a wad of hair, a laptop, a camera, a cell phone, an external card drive and a memory card reader, shoelace receipts including one that was dated June 23rd, 2011, a green scrub sponge, 2 keys, a silver case with a journal and a lap. They also searched his car and took fabric samples from his backseat, scrapings from the airbag, an earring, 2 ponchos, and then they also got a warrant of Stephen's body and collected hair samples, cheek swabs, fingernail scrapings, as well as taking photos of his body. They realised that on this flash drive it actually contained like hundreds and hundreds of Lauren's personal photos. His computer history showed that he was looking at very violent graphic porn. Timestamps between his history would show that he was switching between Lauren's Facebook page while watching this hardcore porn. His computer also showed that he had over 50 images of child pornography saved. Evidence showed that Stephen had access to finding out everything that Lauren was doing, and he was actually stalking her for quite some time. But the truly scary bit of evidence found was a deleted video, well, a video that Stephen thought he had deleted by wiping a whole drive, but they managed to trace it back and get what he thought was gone. This was taken off a video camera found in his apartment. He actually took a wooden pole and taped his camera to the end of it. He would then hold this pole outside of his bedroom and he would hold it really, really high. So through this contraption he made, he could film into Lauren's apartment without her knowing. On August the 2nd, 2011, an arrest warrant was issued. This was charging Steve McDaniel with Lauren's murder. The warrant states that the police recovered a hacksaw in the apartment complex and the saw packaging materials that was found inside of Stephen's apartment. Years passed and the evidence was building up against him even more. Stephen then accepted a deal of guilty to murder, and while in court he openly confessed the details of that horrid night, saying that he had entered Lauren's apartment around 4:30 in the morning while he was wearing a mask. He said that she saw him and then calmly said, "Get the out." He then said, "I leaped across the bed onto her and grabbed her at the throat." He pled to breaking into her apartment, strangling her, taking her body into the bathroom, taking her body apart and hiding it, ripping up evidence and flushing it, cleaning up everything, and then proceeded to act like he didn't know anything and he was just this concerned friend that was trying to find out where Lauren was. What is absolutely heartbreaking is the fact that while she was being brutally strangled, she actually managed to pull off his mask. She saw that it was Stephen and she said, "Stephen, please stop." It's just so sad that she was neighbours for I think it was 7 years to the guy who ended up taking her life. And in court, Stephen confessed that he took her lifeless body into the bath, left it there, and then returned that night with a hacksaw and dismembered her limb for limb. He then said that her other limbs were placed in different dumpsters. To this day, they still have not recovered the rest of her body, and it's just really, really sad that Lauren's family have not been given the opportunity to have their own daughter, to have her fully collected and lay her whole body to rest. The only good that has come out of this is that Stephen was sentenced to life in prison, and I'm glad that he is going to be rotting there forever for the just absolutely horrific crimes that he committed. It's sad that just as this poor girl, she started to get the life and career she wanted, that this guy, that just because he couldn't have her, he just decided that because he could, he would completely strip her of a life. And I think it just shows how evil this guy really is. The fact he went in front of the camera and tried to act like he was this good friend that wanted to know and make sure his friend was safe. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up for this video. Please be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. Like I said, I will be posting a new video every single day this month for my countdown to the best day of the year, which is obviously Halloween. If you enjoy crime and horror in general, just feel free to subscribe, okay? Join the Ghoulgang. I don't know if I'm going to try and... I feel like I'm trying to force that to happen. thanks again for watching. Stay spooky, stay safe, and I will see you in my next video, which will be posted tomorrow. Okay, peace.